last stonemason. What will happen to a dying art? Will it survive the last stonemason? The young man flung the hammer and chisel to the ground and cried, I am leaving, father. I am leaving you and this work. Look what is brought us. He spread out his arm and glanced disdainfully at the small congested workroom, the slabs of stone and marble stacked in one corner, and the old cot covered with a pile of used clothes in the other. The whitewashed walls were stained by many monsoons. The window, bare of curtain, opened into a tiny backyard. After all this year of work, this is all we have. Nothing. This kind of work just doesn't pay. The old man started at his son in astonishment. Although his voice trembled, it didn't lose its usual gentleness. It's not only the money that matters, son. It's the service or our service to God, father. The young man grunted impatiently. Time have changed. The stonemason work has changed too. You can't live on sculpture for temple only. You have to mass produce like all the other in Agra. Come on, father. The line around the old man's mouth tightened. No, my son, this is the work I learned from my father and he learned from his father. We have kept up this tradition for 100 of years, and I hoped you would continue our work. No, father, the young man replied with his determination. There is much more money is astray and plates of tourist shop. I am tired of working for a patience for the committed of the temple in Srinagar. I am leaving, father. The young man stormed out of the room, leaving his old father crouching in front of half-finished marble statue, whose shape already suggested its future magnificence. He dropped his hand into his lap and closed his eye. He began to pray and didn't even hear the distant goodbye. His son called out from the door. He sat motionless, unaware of time and place. Master Ji, called Salim. The servant boy, entering the workshop barefooted, he held out a glass of steaming tea in his hand. Master Ji, he asked once more, his voice filled with concern. The old man looked up. His face was ashen. He looked old, very tired. He beckoned the boy to come closer and motioned him to sit down. Salim, he said gently, soon I will be the last stone man here. All the other would have gone to Agra. There they are turning out cheap candle stand, paperweight and ashtray by the dozen, are making money. But they betray or skill or age-old tradition. Now Gopal has also gone. I'll have to finish this sculpture alone. And with the help of God, I'll do it, Salim. I know you will. I know you will, Master Ji, the boy answered. You will make many more, larger and more beautiful temple sculpture. The old man looked at the orphan boy who had came to work for him 5 years ago, drenched to the skin, dressed in tatter. He had begged for the shelter during a furious monsoon storm and had stayed on to work for the old master craftsman. He had grown tall and strong. The old man knew that Salim too would leave him one day. He sighed and looked into serious eye of the boy, clouded with sadness, a sadness the old man could not understand. He shook his head. My strength is waning. I can't work with the chisel like I used to, caving with his one long, much too long. Then he straightened up and said with the fresh determination, I'll have to finish this work, and surely I will. Yes, you will, the boy repeated, offering his master the glass of tea. Drink, please, it will do you good. Then he added, I have to go to market for an hour or two, but I'll be back in time to prepare dinner. The old man nodded and thought he has been going to the market too often lately. I hope he hasn't fallen into a bad company. He shot a questioning glance at the boy, who turned and left the room. The old man signed and picked up the chisel and hammer. The cool mantle of the tool filled him happiness and confidence. He loved his work and didn't want to change it for any other in the world. Day and week went by. It was a month since Gopal had left. The old man worked tirelessly from morning till late at the night. He worked on the sculpture. It was all there in the stone, the strong, straight shoulder of Krishna, his soft curved hip. He could see the pointed finger holding the flute delicately to his lip. His, his serene face eternally beautiful. The old man could see in the stone. He could feel it. He only had to set it free with his chisel. He didn't feel hunger. He didn't feel thirst. He was driven by the desire to finish the sculpture in time. It was the biggest piece, his best. It would also be his last one on one he worked. His chisel striking the stone again and again. But there came the day when the old man felt his strength ebb and his hand trembled under the impact of hammer. His shoulder began to ache. His arm felt heavy, and his eye grew tired. Then his vision blurred. Then he could not see shape of Krishna embedded in his stone. Overcome with fear, he sank to his knees and prayed. Master Ji, Salim said, "You haven't touched your food again. Please have some rice, vegetable. You only had a glass of milk for breakfast, and have the curd. You like curd? I know you do." The old man looked up. He whispered, "I don't think I'll be able to finish it. If Gopal was here, it would be different." He nodded absent-mindedly to himself and continued. He wasn't the best of craftsmen, but he was good and stronger. He stripped off the stone layer by layer as if it were clay. He hadn't yet learned to carve the finer detail, but in a year or two he would have learned surely. He fell silent. It was feature and hand gave him trouble. There was something missing in his figure, that something which can't be taught, because it comes from somewhere deep inside you. Salim whispered, "From deep inside here," and he pointed to his heart. The old man looked at the boy, surprised. He saw him blush and turned his face away. "You are right, Salim, you are right." And then he added with sudden bitterness, "And if you don't have it here," he thumbed his chest, "then you'd better go to Agra and mass produce a tray for the tourists from aboard." Then the old man coughed painfully and reached for his glass of water. "Eat, Master Ji, eat. Eat, Master Ji, eat. Everything will be all right." After he had eaten, the old man once again took up his hammer, chisel. He worked till late in night. He prayed for help and strength. And he prayed for his son. In the early hours of the morning, the chisel fell from his hand and the hammer dropped to the ground. His old body sagged, falling forward limply. His forehead struck Krishna's flute and laid down the statue to rest on the pedestal. "Hi, Ram," he muttered, and sank into a comfortable darkness. When he opened his eyes, he found himself lying on a cot in his bedroom, covered by a light cotton blanket. From the workshop, the chipping sound of the chisel reached his ear. He listened. Had his ear deceived him? No, he could hear it again, the strong blow of the hammer on the top of the chisel. Gopal, he was black. Gopal had returned. He would help him. They would finish the statue. He stumbled to his feet across the small room and reached the door. "Gopal," was about to shout when the word froze on his lip. No. He wanted to cry out, "Stop, stop the work," but he couldn't move. Shock and immobilized him. He stood starting at the back of young stone carver working on the face of statue, on the eyebrow arching over a pair of fine eyes. It wasn't his son sitting cross-legged before the biggest statue he had ever carved. It was Salim, his servant. The old man was turned. The first wave of shock, fear, and anger passed. "Hi, Ram," the old man whispered. "Hi, Ram," and tottered over to the boy. Dropping his hand on his shoulder, he said softly, "Salim." The startled boy turned and looked up, and his master. He rose to his feet clumsily, and the hammer and his chisel still in hand. "Salim," the old man searched for work. I only wanted to help," whispered the boy. "I learn if you teach me, Master Ji. I have practiced secretly for almost 2 years in the quarry. I am a Muslim. I know I would not carve the image of God, but isn't this different? Master Ji, I am carving the sculpture errant. I a beautiful sculpture that has different meaning of different people. Isn't it so, Master Ji? Please tell me. For many years I wanted to become sculptor, yet I fought the feeling, but it proved too strong. I know this there is nothing in this world I would like to do more. There is nothing in life I could do better. Will you please teach me, Master Ji?" The old man pulled the boy's head against his shoulder and whispered, "There is nothing I can teach you, my son. Go ahead. You have it in your hand and in your heart. I know you will be one of the country's finest stonemason." Sigrun Srivastav.